What's up, AJ? I got you, fam. Give me 1 sec. I'm just typing it in the pinning it for everybody to see.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's goody?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm trying to turn my volume up. Hold on. There we go. There we go.
What's up, family?
What's good? It's been years. Yo, I've been watching you. You doing your thing. Every time I pop up, you got a set going. You spinning somewhere. I'm like, yo, that's my dude. I love the beard too. I'm like, yo, what's good? Yo, you see, I ain't shaving nothing either. I'm just like, yo. So,
First of all,
yeah.
man, I just want to say I love you.
Back at you. Love you too.
All these years, we've known each other a lot of years since the 90s.
Absolutely.
And for those that are just jumping on that don't know who you are or who I am, you know what I'm saying? We just have to take it back for the people that give people a little history, you know what I mean, of our relationship. Believe it or not, when we met back in the 90s, when I was a publicist at XXposure, and you were a journalist, still a journalist, you know what I'm saying? But back then, that's how we met, because you were writing for On The Go magazine, one of my publications that, that I would send press kits to get stories for my clients. And you can elaborate on that. I mean, you can probably tell me some of the clients that you've interviewed that my company represented at the time. But back then, I didn't even know that you were the same AJ Rock from JVC FORCE.
You know, I'm getting that now, because, my whole thing was after JVC, like, a lot of people try to play on what they used to do. I wanted people to know AJ Woodson. I wanted the brand AJ Woodson. So I got people now, because I'm sending all this 33 anniversary stuff, talking about, yo, that's you. You did that, yo, dude. I've known you how long? You ain't tell me, because I don't walk around. Yo, I'm one of them cats, yo. I never walk around. I'm never one of those cats that be like, yo, you don't know who the hell I am, because I don't know. I never want nobody to say, nah, who the hell are you? Like I know.
Let me tell you. Hold on. Before we begin, I gotta play this for you. Listen to this.
Okay.
Like when I go into my breakbeat sets, this is something that I always play.
Free the pain. Yes, sir.
The easiest way to fall is lean on someone you love. The easiest way to fall is lean on someone you love.
Yo, word up. Yo, let me tell. So let me tell you, like, right. So my partner, shout out to my partner in Ron, B Love. Yo, so B Love was going to college at Sullivan Community College at the time. B Love's dad was a DJ. So going back before that, so we had this DJ, this crew. When I was in Central Heights of Long Island, we had a crew getting down kind of like Cold Crush, harmonizing and everything. But out there, they were called, matter of fact, they were called Double Exposure, of all things. They were called, that was their name. They was able to do it. Right. They Double Exposure. They were kind of like our Cold Crush out there. Yeah. Them and Midnight Express and a few other people. So the DJ, Spontaneous, came by my house, right? And he was doing a party, and he wanted my good times. And I was like, nah, I ain't giving you my good times. And he said, yo, I got something for you. And he traded me the 45 of Free to Pain, The Easiest Way to Fall, right? This is going back. This is before JVC. This is early, right after high school, like 85 or something. So I traded him. No, this is even before that. This is way before that. So I traded him, and then I played the record, and I got so mad because, I wasn't really up on Free to Pain, and I just gave up my brand new Good Times. And I was like, yo, I don't like this joint, and I ain't like it. Yo, I was mad because I gave up my Good Times. I figured he got me. So going forward, So we sitting in B Love's father's garage. Now he's an old school DJ from back in the days, Caribbean DJ, Calypso DJ, all that. Ridiculous records. So Kurt actually was using a sample from a Temptations beat, which was hot, but we were looking for something different. And then I was asking his pops, I said, yo, you got anything by Frida Payne? I had remembered this song. So he puts on Band of Gold, the 45. And I'm like, that's not it. He said, but this is the hit. I'm like, that's not it. Is there anything on the other side? And then that pops up. Dun, 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 dun. And then we got the album. Then we got the album and the other parts from the Unhooked Generation, which is also on that album. So we put both of those to the samples. But yo, I was mad when my man Spontaneous got me for my good times. Cause you know, I was just starting out as a DJ. I used to be a DJ first. I was a DJ.
Like,
yeah.
Aren't you happy how everything turned out? What up, GQ?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to my cousin Panama Shell. She's on. Shout out to Dwayne Brown. I see he's on.
What's up,
yo?
Sab?
What's up?
I see you, Sab. Everybody jumping on right now. Visum, I see you, Visum. AJ Strong, what's good? We're talking to my man AJ ROK from the legendary group Strong Island. Hold on, I gotta play it for the heads that don't know, man. Like heads that I'm turntable. First of all, I always love the beginning. The beginning always,
and that's the Unhooked Generation. Once we found the easiest way to fall, we needed something else, and we found he had the album, because that was the 45. We found out he had the album, so we're going through the cuts in the album and caught that, and that ended up being what everybody remembers.
Let's play it.
Live.
You can hear it, right?
Yes, yes.
Listen to the situation, my son. I'm as serious as cancer, all fun and done. For the time, the people correspond the rhymes to it valid. The best you will find. Living in
CI, who the hell am I? AJ ROK the juice, I get fly, cool with the riffing guy, keep a handle, because if you don't, I wax you down like a candle. Yo, do you know, I just turned 55. We did them rhymes in 87. They came out, Red Alert played it January, New Year's Eve night, 88, when the clock turned over. And people are still walking up to me today.
He played it for the first time.
It's the first time anybody ever played it. Wow. He was the first time he broke it, actually. And we was chilling. So people still come up to me now, that whole living in CI, who the hell, they don't know what the hell CI is. People, a DJ from Moscow just hit me the other day, and that's what he was typing in, living in CI. Like, he just kept typing that in. I was like, yo, that's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
Where are you from originally?
Mount Vernon. I'm born in Mount Vernon. So, my dad worked at the General Motors plant. My mom's had spent, part of her life, she was in the projects in Mount Vernon. My pops was in the projects in New Rochelle, part of their life. They wanted us to have something different, so they brought a house. And when I was 7 in Central Islip, Long Island. Right. So I was out there. I got to see a whole lot of stuff I never would have seen. And then my parents broke up. And then, I drove my mom's crazy, so she sent me back to my dad, who moved back to Mount Vernon. I went to high school. So this is where I'm from. This is where I'm at right now. I'm in Mount Vernon right now.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm back home.
I had a mayor that had locks. Remember the mayor that had dreadlocks?
Ernie Davis, yes. Ernie Davis.
I did a couple of events in Mount Vernon. The Mount Vernon event that y'all had.
Arts on Third?
Yes. I had a couple of artists that performed at that time, and we were coming through to do events in Mount Vernon, and it was under when he was mayor. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So it started under him.
Yes.
Yeah. It started under him, and we still rock with the Arts Council, still doing their thing.
And then Rich, Mayor Richard
Thomas. Yes.
Yeah, I know him very well, and his sister, the entire
JC.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. Shout out to Rich and JC. Yo, what up?
JC with Marley Marl.
Yes.
Work with Marley Marl, and I was getting ready to do a show with Marley Marl, but that just never happened. And then Marley unfortunately got sick, but he's much better now. But that just never happened, you know what I'm saying? But salute to JC, salute to them, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
So the history that we have, again, goes back to the 90s, you know, I had just left the Fugees, and you're celebrating 33 years of JVC Force, and I'm
Yes.
celebrating 25 years of the score, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even though I wasn't with the Fugees when the score came out, I was with the Fugees before the score.
Right.
When they dropped Blunted on Reality, the first album. So it's all, you know, a celebration, because we're celebrating really the inception of the Fugees and how the Fugees, you know, got together and taking it back to the Booger Basement. So this is a really, really dope year of commemorating, you know,
Absolutely.
reflection, you know what I mean? So yeah, man.
I remember
back then, 93, I was with the Fugees, like 93, 94, I left, and then I joined XXposure, bro.
Right.
I started as an
You don't know now.
My phone.
yeah. I was like, so then I started as an intern at XXposure, and I had no clue what PR was, man. You know, I mean, you met me when I was like doing it, but
right
in there, I didn't know what I was doing, bro. Like first day I started doing PR, I did PR for Granddaddy IU.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Lead Pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that whole situation, and that shit, you know, he had that song Represent.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first day I started doing PR at XXposure. I was assembling press kits for Granddaddy IU. And I'm like, what the hell? Because the next day, he was getting ready to do a press day in Newark. You know, he was going to receive a proclamation and press kits, and I'm putting together sandwiches, you know, sandwiches that said IU cares, slapping stickers on the sandwiches that said IU cares. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what? You know what I mean? So I'm like, what the hell? So then the next day, and I have to tell the story because that's like you taking me back to my publicity days and shit. You know what I mean? Like the next day, I'm in Newark, right? And we're giving out sandwiches to the homeless. You know, we went to a homeless shelter. We're giving out sandwiches, and all the sandwiches had IU cares, and you know, and I'm like, wow, this is really crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then right after we finish, you know, giving out sandwiches and juice and stuff like that, feeding the homeless, we go to City Hall, and then the councilman presents a plaque to IU, to Granddaddy IU, for his services, you know, to the community. And I'm like, whoa, they just blew my mind. And then meanwhile, he had tons of media there, like mad press, like ching, 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 you know, writers and journalists. And that was my real first exposure to PR and publicity campaigns. And I was like, yo, so that was my beginning, man. And then from then on, you know, Mary J. Blige comes up into the office. You know, she's doing, artist development with Angelo. You know what I'm saying? Right before the My Life album, right before the.
That's when they were trying to refine her, and when I think Wendy Williams said something crazy to her, she smacked Wendy on that. They were trying to refine her public, because she wasn't, because she wasn't taking, like, if you said something crazy to her, she was coming, but you can't do that with media. So yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. You know what I'm saying? And I really learned so much from Angelo when he was doing artist development for Mary. One of the things that he did was, you know, he went and got all of her interviews, well, a lot of her interviews, maybe like 10 or 20 of her interviews on video, and actually sat her down and made her watch herself, you know, and she got to watch how she performed on camera, you know, little things, man, like, you know, don't do this on camera, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it was, you know, even me, I'm a big, you know what I mean, and now I'm saying, you know, cut back on the, you know what it means, and now I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, things like that. So it was a real dope learning experience with the man Angelo Ellerby. I owe so much to him, and from then on, you know, I did Soul for Real and God, Drew Hill, You know,
And then you and Chase went and had your own thing. Y'all started your own thing.
Yeah. I was at Double Exposure from 94 till about 97. And then I got fired because KRS-One, and I know you got your KRS-One story too, but KRS-One reached out to me and he needed a publicist. You know what I'm saying? What up, Father MC? That was one of my clients as well. Father,
all right.
Father, I got to bring you on this call, fam. We got to bring Father MC on here too. Word up.
No doubt.
So stay on, Father. We're going to bring you on. So Father was one of my clients as well, Father MC. And, you know, it was one of those things where I just got thrown into it, you know, and shout out to my man, Vincent Carroll, who brought me on. And it was just an unforgettable experience. And with that, I met you because you were one of my journalists. You were one of the, I just owe a lot to a lot of the journalists that showed me so much love. You know, I would send out press kits to The Source, On the Go, XXL, BET, you name it, man. I was like, yo, I need a story for my artist, you know, Drew Hill. Can you please give me a story for my artist, Drew Hill? And people were like, all right, Harry, you know. And so it was like that, man. And I'm telling these stories now because a lot of people don't know my background. Like they see me as a DJ, know that I was a publicist, you know? And so, yeah, all praises due to you, man, because you always like took my phone calls. You always showed up to my press days. And, you know, it was one of those great times, man. Salute.
I was hungry because like Wendy Day thought it was a good idea. Shout out to Wendy Day to have a rapper review other rappers' albums and singles. So it was kind of like a gimmicky thing. And then I think something happened and I wrote about it. Like Russell Simmons did something and I felt like he was jerking artists, something like that. And I wrote a big editorial and people was like, yo, this cat can really write. So I was like hungry I was doing Word Up at the time, Word Up and Black Beat mostly. And then, you know, some of the underground joints. And I was hungry to get because freelancers feast or famine. You know what I'm saying? Either you got ridiculous checks every time you go to the mailbox, or you ready to beat the mailman up like, yo, where my, you know, because you ain't got no check for a month. Like it's feast or famine. So you got to keep hustling. And it was like, because I was a rapper, I wasn't taken serious as a writer. So I didn't get a lot of, I'm the first person you call, or even the second person you call, or maybe even the third person you call, or you gave the assignment to someone else. And they didn't handle it, and then they got to be in 3 days, and then you call me because you know I was hungry. You know what I'm saying? Or like Tracy McGregor at The Source or something, they would have somebody else to do an article, and they would get information from me. So at the bottom it would say additional research by AJ Woodson. I was like, why don't you just give me the article? You know what I'm saying? So I was hustling. But what got me a lot of love from publicists like you, since I was hungry and I was freelancing, I had the ability to interview an artist and then get 4 or 5 underground publications, and I write 4 or 5 different articles on them, and you would never know it was from the same interview. You know what I'm saying? So that's what got me a lot of love and helped me grow. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I was always a hustler, so I'm trying to hustle. This is I'm trying to eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Kate Ferguson,
much love to her.
Shout out to Cynthia Horner. You know,
yes.
Tracy McGregor tunes into my sets like every night, every time I jump on.
Shout out to Trey.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tracy McGregor from The Source, formerly from The Source.
Yes.
Man, wow, B, that's crazy.
So it's crazy because I was, you know, you have like an identity thing. So you doing this JVC. I'm JVC FORCE. We touring. We get like our own tours overseas. You know what I'm saying? We doing our thing. We got people opening up for us. We in Germany, places like that where they can't speak the language but know your words, your lyrics word for word, which bugged me out. You know what I'm saying? And then you go through that. We go through the creative differences.
Big up, David.
We on Big Beat. I mean, we on B-Boy. Then we on Idlers, another little label. Then we get to Big Beat, and Big Beat, we're part of the deal with Big Beat. Atlantic buys Big Beat, and then the group breaks up, and the third album never comes out. So now I'm trying to find myself because that's who I am. AJ, everybody knows from JVC. I'm trying to establish AJ Woodson. I'm doing a little bit of everything. You know, I'm trying to hustle, you know, publicists like you know, sometimes I would get some side work, helping work in your project or something. Y'all throw me a couple of dollars or, you know what I'm saying? I was doing a little college radio or whatever the hell I could do. Like, you know, and I think Wendy introduced me, you said on the go. Shout to Steve Powers, Espo, Ari Foreman, Max Glazier, and Jimmy, I can't remember Jimmy's last name, but that was the core four.
Yes.
And they was like this dope graffiti magazine from Philly.
Yeah.
And they moved to New York and they was working out of the Village and they wanted it to be more hip hop and graffiti.
Right.
And Wendy, I guess, suggested, she knew them, that we would be a good fit. So I started rocking with them. And, you know, since I was freelance, I was getting money from everybody. They would just start and they didn't really have money to pay me. You know what I'm saying? But I had so much fun with them. So they gave me like 5%, like maybe like 5% owner or something like that. And, you know, that was, other than like doing JVC, the most fun I had in hip hop was with On The Go.
Wow. And that's how we met, you know?
Yeah.
Every time I had a press day, you know, you were on my press list and you would come through and interview, you know, the artists that I was working with at the time. You know what I mean? So thank you for always showing up. You know, I mean, I don't even think you understood how much of a favor you were doing for me at the time, because it was hard, man. It was hard. It wasn't like today. Like today, you see how the internet is. Everything is kind of, you know, all over. Like, it's kind of like all over the place. But back then, you had to really like follow up. I had to pick up the phone and call people and try to really get them to do stories for my artists. You know,
right.
And it wasn't always easy, because if there was an artist that wasn't popular or that wasn't really well known at the time, which a lot of times, you know, Angelo would take on some of these clients that really were just getting started. But guess what? A group like Dru Hill, who had just came out, who really, they got co-signed by Heavy D, you know, at the time. So that was a good look. And then, you know, at the time they did the Tell Me record, you know, the Tell Me What You Want, you know, that first record. But it wasn't until they did the remix,
yes,
that they took off, the Jermaine Dupri remix, that they took off. And that's when, you know, I started getting a lot of love and attention for Dru Hill. And we you know, we did, you know, the In My Bed press day where Angelo had like a big bed with like, you know, with red velvet. I found an old picture from that too. Red,
word.
A bit of satin. It was satin sheets on the with a big bed for the press day. Everybody had to come wearing pajamas. It was like a pajama press day.
Right.
And every press, like they were in the bed. And every press person that wanted to interview Dru Hill had to sit in the bed with Dru Hill.
Oh, wow.
Those are some of the things that, like, he was such a dope, like, publicist, man, you know, and I learned a lot from him, you know what I'm saying? Salute to Angelo Ellaby. But, yeah, man, JVC Force, man, like, tell me about your B-Boy Records, the whole history. Like, how did you and B Love get together and eventually get signed to B-Boy Records in that whole situation? Because I know Scott Rock had something to do with that as well.
So it's crazy because, you know, it's funny, like you said, people don't know your you know, a lot of stuff you did. It's like I've had like 3 or 4 different careers. And if you don't know what I'm saying? Now you know. So I'm sorry,
I'm your phone ring.
It's a remix of they did Biggie and James Brown.
Oh, word.
So it's Big Papa and Papa got a brand new bag.
Okay.
So Big Papa got a brand new bag. So that's the ringtone. You know, I got to have something funky. You know, so it's like, you know, so it's like, yeah. So it's crazy. So I'm from Mount Vernon, and then I moved to Long Island. That's already like culture shock right there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, went to school with K Solo, Kevin Madison. We went to school, so I had all of that. You know, Keith Murray and B Love and them was younger. Then in Mount Vernon, you know, I went to school. When I came back to school, I went to high school with Hev's older brother Floyd. You know what I'm saying? Hev was a couple of years, Dwight was a couple of years younger, but me and Floyd was in classes. And then my cousins in New Rochelle are Dixons, so they related to Pooba and them. So I seen Pooba in them before they made records. So I had all of this stuff going on like that made me up. So anyway, JVC, so I moved, I told you I moved, my mom's pops moved me out there when I was 7. I met B, he was 5. So I didn't really know him first. He lived around the corner. His little sister used to ride her little tricycle around the house to my house to see my little sister. Is Nicole home? Is Nicole home? And he would have to come around the block and come get her. That's like literally how we met. So, and then he tells the story about some days that his football went over my fence and I was a bully. I don't remember none of that. But so that's like, so somehow and then we met. But that was like my brother. We
fence and you never gave him the ball back?
I don't remember. He tells the story and he got jokes, so I don't remember none of that. So I don't remember that. I don't remember none of that. But he tells his football went over and he said I was a bully about it. So I don't know. Maybe I ain't give it back or something. I don't know. So anyway, he lived around the corner, so that ended up being like my brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, way before music, that was like my brother. You know what I mean? So like then my parents break up and I moved back to Mount Vernon, and they're like two years younger than me. So 2 years younger. So they start making their little noise around, you know, doing parties and stuff. He's doing his thing. Kurt lived a block the other way. So they lived, Kurt, me, and then B was like literally like block. So when I got back, I came back to CI. I don't know if it was for a visit. I came back to live or what. All the dudes on the block that I knew were telling me about, yo, you got to see what they doing. They making some noise now, you know, talking about what B and them was doing. So they took me to a house party they was doing. So, you know, they was like, I got there and they was like, yo, you know, me and B already knew each other, but they was like, yo, you got to let AJ on the mic. So they let me on the mic. You know, I did my little thing and, you know, it was B's set. So he ain't gonna let nobody show him up on his set. So, you know, we ain't battling, but we going back and forth for like, like an hour, 2 hours, like, and everybody was just loving it. And everybody was like, we sounded great together. So the next day, I think they had already had the group somewhat formatted, and it was like Curtis a DJ, it was like B was a rapper, and then they had 2 female rappers or something. They had something going on, but everybody's talking about how we sounded good together. So we met the next day and we started writing routines. You know what I'm saying? We just used to do all these routines, you know, because that was the thing back then. So we was doing routines and, we started talking about making a record. So ironically, I'm not on the demo that got shot. They had done something. B is rapping. This other cat is doing the beatbox and Kurt's DJing. That's actually New School. That's actually the demo. So that's what they shot. Because a lot of labels said Strong Island would have got assigned anywhere. But we didn't have Strong Island. So we sent it to, you know, we do the traditional thing. You look at all the your favorite albums. You get the address, the label from the address to the label at the bottom, and you send your tape in. That's like literally all we did, you know. I always had the graffiti type handwriting, so everybody thought my handwriting was dope. So, I'm writing all I'm writing all the envelopes and everything. Mm-hmm. So we sending them out. We got a couple of calls. B-Boy calls us. So, like, again, I'm older. Now I'm out of school. Mom's like, you're going to do something if you live in here. So, I'm working, architectural drafting, doing this. When we showed up at B-Boy, you would have thought I was the lawyer because I'm coming from work. I got a suit on. With my briefcase. and, and I was older, so they thought I was the lawyer. You know what I'm saying? They thought I was the lawyer. So we went there, and they loved the song. They loved the song, but they was like, but we want to get something for the B-side just in case. Mm-hmm. And that's when we went back in the studio and did Strong Island. We had already signed. Wow. And then it was like Strong Island ended up being that song that was the A-side. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, but they wanted something they was going to put New School out, but they wanted a B-side record just to, just to have something that, they had to back it up, just in case everybody wasn't feeling that. And that's what it was. And when we did Strong Island, we came out that studio. We went in, we used to do joints, we used to practice all the time. So we went in, we lay our vocals, Kurt do the music, 4 or 5 hours later, we come out with a finished product. You know what I'm saying? So we used to rock it. So we came out, when we were listening to that joint in the studio, we knew, you feel that magic. Like we had something. We didn't know 30-something years later, people would still be like, yo, that's my joint. Wow. I met somebody online the other day to be like, Take It Away, which is a song on there. They're like, yo, that's in my CD player. I play that every morning on the way to work and every afternoon on the way home. Like literally, like that's what this dude told me. Like I'm like, yo, it's bugging me out. Like, yeah. So
What up,
we knew it, huh?
Earthman's on the like Craze, you know Craze, right?
Yes.
Up in the party.
Okay. So
what up,
yeah. So
see you.
So we knew we had something, but we didn't know what we had. You know what I'm saying? And then that ended up being it. And the thing was, Long Island was very diverse and has so much talent, but no one really repped Long Island.
Wow.
Like Rakim said, rough enough to break New York from Long Island. Chuck D said, Strong Island, where I got them wildin', which is what we sampled.
Right.
Other than that, there was lots of groups, but you didn't know they was from Long Island.
Right.
So then we did Strong Island the same way Chris and them did South Bronx and Shannon and them did the Bridge, like just repping where we come from.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? And gave it an identity to the point like De La and the people that was all that they proud to be from Strong Island now. You know what I'm saying? So you had, and the way it was, you had Centralized Slip. That's where we was from, and Kate Solo and Keith Murray later on, and a few other people. 5 minutes this way, well, not even 5 minutes. I lived on the borderline. I lived 2 blocks from the borderline. There's Brentwood, Craig Mack, who was MC Easy at the time, and he did that joint. EPMD, Diamond J, all of them. That's like I could walk to Diamond's house from my house, like literally. Wow. Then 10 minutes in this direction, you got Amityville, you got De La. 10 more minutes than this, 5-10 minutes in this direction, you got Wine Dance, you got Rakim, Freddie Fox, and all that going on. Then you go about 10, 15, 20 minutes further, about 15 minutes in, you got the whole Hempstead, Uniondale, Freeport, Roosevelt, Public Enemy, the brother, in high school, let me tell you who went to school. Chuck, Flavor Flav, Howard Stern, the 2 brothers from Guy, Professor Grip, they were all in high school together. In Roosevelt High School. Yeah. So you had all of them, and then Buster and them came from that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, a lot of people was not from, like, I'm from Mount Vernon. B Love is from Brooklyn. Long Island was like that place, like, where you were doing a little bit better. You wanted to move out of Brooklyn or Queens or in my state, Mount Vernon, and you ended up going to Long Island because it was nice to live in. People don't know. LL's from Long Island. LL's from Bayshore, which was like 10 minutes from me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You know that whole thing where he was like, he talked about, I think his pops and moms, we had a little rough relationship. She left and moved in with her mother, and that's his grandmother's house in Queens, but he's from Bayshore.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Method Man is from Hempstead.
Just shout out to people that's rolling in, man. A lot of people showing love right now. What up, Zena? Minister Server, Zulu Nation.
Oh, Minister Server. I haven't heard that name in a minute. What's up, sir?
Zulu Nation in the building. Remember when I was doing Zulu Nation anniversaries, right?
Okay, so that's one of those things that I was going to bring up.
Go ahead.
You did the hip-hop, some hip-hop declaration thing or something y'all did. And at the time, my partner who I do Black Westchester with now, the thing I do now, he was trying to do a hip-hop Hall of Fame in Mount Vernon. And I brought him down to your joint so he could meet. And we're sitting at the table with Kaz and Herc and KRS. And I'm introducing, and they're all feeling what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And we were going to put this whole Hall of Fame thing together.
Are you talking about when we were at the United Nations?
No, we were down some,
SOBs?
Something like that. And it was just a big thing where we all signed. It was like a declaration, a hip-hop declaration, and you had all of us sign it. It had all of us like a declaration.
It was at the United Nations.
Okay, so I remember you had all of us signing. So my partner Damon, who I go back to the 90s with him.
Right.
The dude I do Black Westchester with, and I brought him to your joint, and I'm introducing him because he's trying to do a hip-hop Hall of Fame. Yeah. And the mayor you talk about, you got to go through the mayor when you want to do something in the city. He stole an idea trying to do a hip-hop museum, and nothing came out of it.
Server, bring it up right now. For those that don't know, I was the publicist for the Universal Zulu Nation back in 94, 95. Africa Bambaataa, Brother Righteous, TC Islam, may he rest in peace.
Shout to TC Islam.
Lucky Strike, all those cats came up to Angelo's office, and they were like, "Yo, we got the 20-year anniversary of." Speaking of the 20-year anniversary of the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, back then it was the 20-year anniversary of the Zulu Nation, of the Universal Zulu Nation, and they were doing a huge celebration at the Puck Building, at the Armory. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole big thing that year, man. And so I was the publicist assigned to handle that whole thing. Me and a few other publicists as well. Tandy, shout out to Tandy Weems. But that was a situation that was really unforgettable, because that exposed me to the hip hop community at large. Like, you can't get any bigger than that. You know what I mean? It was huge, man. And at the Puck Building alone, we had Tribe perform. We had Bootsy Collins came through, you know what I mean? And it was one of the most unforgettable experiences of my life. I dealt with media and press, because every media, magazine, television, newspaper, and everything wanted to cover, the 20-year anniversary of the Universal Zulu Nation. So, I had, Bam, Righteous, Lucky, and, I'm saying, shout out to Crazy Legs as well. He was doing a lot of...
Shout out to Crazy Legs, yeah.
Crazy Legs. He was doing a lot of interviews, and, it was just a wonderful situation. And then 5 years later, I ended up doing the 25-year anniversary, the silver anniversary, for the Universal Zulu Nation as well. And that's when I was with Meridian Entertainment. Salute to Chase, my partner Chase at the time.
Yes.
But, when we were doing the KRS-One situation for the Declaration of Peace, I was doing PR for KRS-One. And KRS-One, we were on the phone with him for the longest, drafting up, the Temple of Hip Hop. We put together the and basically he wanted to put together he wanted to draft a document that talked about the principles of hip hop, from the from just the basic principles of hip hop, the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. And everybody can pretty much Google it right now if you can know exactly what I'm talking about. But we ended up taking it to the United Nations. And salute to Judy Duncan, who was NGO at the time. She was the one that got us in to the United Nations. And we were able to set up a huge event to actually get, MCs like a Kaz, Grandmaster Flash, Chuck D was there. Ernie Panicoli was one of the speakers. Tembisa Mshaka, she was one of the speakers as well. Actually, I think she hosted the situation. But salute to Tembisa. And, they came together and argued over the document. It was a deal at the time, because it was like KRS-One wanted to put together this document to identify the principles of hip hop, but he wanted it to be argued. He wanted it to be argued. So when I'll never forget when Flash came through, he didn't agree with certain points of the document. You know what I mean?
Right.
He didn't agree with points of the document. And so eventually everybody that signed it. Believe it or not, I never got a chance to sign it. You got to sign it, and I didn't even get a chance.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm the one that helped put the whole thing together, but it was all good though, man,
And my partner, Damon Jones, just for everybody listening that know me, Damon was there with me back then. He was there, he was with me. Wow. And Damon, because since he was with me, they was like, yeah, you signed too. He signed his name on it too. Yeah.
Look at what you brought up, man.
I wanted to say, when you said, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
You were talking about the Fugees, and you was talking about TC Islam. So the first time I meet Lauryn Hill, I'm kicking it with TC Islam. That was my dude. So we kicking it, and she walks up. And at the time, they might have had just their first single for their first album. So nobody literally knew who they were at the time.
Right.
And he introduced me, and she had this aura about her. Mm-hmm. I had never heard her perform. She was beautiful, and she had this earthy thing about her, and she had this aura that you knew she was going to be something. I had never heard her spit. I had never heard her do nothing. We were just talking, but I knew, you could tell there was something special about her. And then it was around the time of that new music seminar type thing going on. So, you know, they would have new groups performing, and they had a band.
Yeah.
And they was, you know, doing their thing with a band. And I was there that night.
Yeah.
And it was like, yo.
My story with the Fugees goes back to the Booger Basement. Back in '93, I auditioned for the Fugees back in '93. What up, Jen? I see you. And shout out to my man, Papa Levi. He brought me to the Booger Basement. That was in Jersey, in East Orange, New Jersey. And Lauren had just performed, she had just did the movie with Whoopi Goldberg, Sister Act 2. She had just did it. So if you look at the early Fugees back then, Lauren had braids. You know, she had braids because she had those braids in Sister Act 2. And so I'm auditioning. I didn't know who Lauren was, you know, back then. I'm auditioning for Clef, Praz, and I made it. You know, they were like, okay, you're our DJ. And this was back when they launched their first album, Blunted on Reality. They had a first single called Boof Boff.
Right.
Remember Boof Boff? And so I shot a video for that, and the video was getting played, you know, heavy. And we were doing a lot of shows, like a lot of showcases for Sony. Sony really, like, they had to prove themselves at the time for Sony, you know, because Sony wasn't really feeling them like that. You know, they were like, at that time, Fugees was signed with Nas. They were label mates with Nas. They were label mates with Escape, and Big L, Columbia. And so, you know,
rest in peace to Big L.
Yup, rest in peace, Big L. Rest in peace, TC Islam. That's right, Minister Server.
Right. Yes.
So we had to do a lot of like show and prove, man. Like that's one of the things that I'll never forget. I was just on a live with Jerry Wonder, like literally like a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about that. It was just like, you know, the you know, doing all those showcases and, you know, sometimes getting booed, you know, not because they were whack, but because people they just didn't understand that, you know.
They didn't know how to define them. They didn't know how to define them. They didn't fit in the box of certain things. Because like I said, when I first saw them and they had a band and everything, they were dope. They weren't the score dope. They wasn't the score dope to everybody yet.
Right.
But they were, you could see they were dope. And even then I could see Lauren had a little skills and everything. You could see that, but they weren't Nas. They weren't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, you know, that official spit, you know, hip hop, or they wasn't, you know, they had a bit, you couldn't define them.
Right.
And so they were probably trying to find their little space in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Their identity at the time for that first album.
He was a visionary because he was adamant on having a band and a DJ, which is how,
right.
You know, he was adamant about that. I mean, there were times where, you know, some of the shows that the label had booked were like, no, we just want the band. We don't need the DJ. And Clef was like, nah, man, I got to have my DJ and my band. Or some shows where there's like, oh, we don't have a space for a band. We just need the DJ. Clef was like, nah, we're not doing the show because I got to have my band and my DJ. So salute to Clef for the vision and a lot of shows. And, you know, it was just a great experience, man. It gave me the chops. It gave me the you know, the experience, you know, to actually be a show DJ, you know, and be able to craft the show, you know. Like Clef was like, all right, we're going to do show A, show B, show C, show D. We walk into a room or walk into a club or walk into a wherever we were at. And if it was like, you know, a crowd that was, you know, okay, we're going to do show B, you know, show B. We're going to walk in this room. We're going to take a look. We're going to do show D, you know. So I had to learn how to do like several different shows, and it was a great experience, man, you know. And that was my experience, man. And then I left. Well, I got fired. I always tell this story, but it was a grateful situation because, you know, that experience led me to PR, you know. I would have never became a publicist had I not got fired from the Fugees. And, you know, it was just, it was dope, man. It was dope. You know, salute.
I mean, same thing. If the group didn't break up, y'all might not know me as a writer. Like literally, like if the group didn't break up, we would have still been doing stuff. I wouldn't have been writing. I wouldn't have been on the go writing and met you and all that. Yeah,
we would have never met. Why did the group break up? JVC.
So I like to keep it real. It depends on whose story you tell. Either I left the group or I got kicked out. So it depends on whose story you tell. So, you know, I never really throw our dirt out there like that. So creative differences is the bottom line.
So,
you know what I'm saying? You know,
correct the. You know.
No, it was, but see, but you gotta understand. So I'm 2 years older, right?
Yeah.
At some point, I got a kid. My daughter's 31 now. Oh, she'll be 31 this year. Yeah. So my daughter, you know, I used to bring her around. Yeah, I used to bring her around. She's a little girl then, and yeah, she's 30. She'll be 31 this year. She's doing her thing. So I have responsibilities, and I was already out of school. So you know, mom was like, "Yo, you gonna work or you gonna do something?" They were still in school, so. You know, they was getting whatever they want. Their mom's buying them cars, giving them cars, and, you know, giving them money. And so their priorities in life were different than my priorities. Like I had to, there was times, I was working for this architectural firm, doing architectural drafting. So I would leave in the morning, right? And I would be doing that from 9 to 5. Then I had like a part window factory company to get, to appointments, you know, so they could give them a free estimate. They would pick me up from that. Then we would go to Brooklyn when we was on Islands Records to Coney Island and be in the studio all night. And at some point I get a nap in the couch. I get home in time to take a shower to go to work again.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing working, and then we got the whole new music seminars in town, so we have to be at all the events. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, but I got a job though. They live at their mom's. We all lived at our mom, but they were, you know, they were still getting, you know, my life was a little harder at the time, so I had different priorities.
Yeah.
So I was more serious about certain things. You know, they wanted to have more fun. You know, I was more, you know, so that when I say. Right. So when I say creative differences, that led to a lot of the creative. I started seeing things a certain way, and you know they were still here, and they 2 years younger, so they live in life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, you just out of school, you got a record, you the hot dude in town. You know what I'm saying? You know, you want to run around town, grab all the girls, hang out. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like. That a little bit, when I say creative differences, it had a lot to do with that.
Gotcha.
You know, so we get the big beat Atlantic. We get the big beat. Craig Kelman sells it to Atlantic. We're part of that deal. Us and the Double X Posse not gonna be able to do it. Can we do it? It's the two of us, and then they had some like House Tara Kemp and some other people like that. That's what they were known for. Stretch was the A&R. You know what I'm saying? So Stretch was like, yo, he got us on.
Salute to Stretch.
Straight shout to Stretch. And I met him years before with Bobito, before he was Stretch Armstrong, when he was Skinny Bones. I'm sure he gonna hate me saying that because he hated that name. But that was their show. We did their show, and they had this flyer, and it was like dope, and it was Skinny Bones and Bobito. You know what I'm saying? Before he was Stretch, and then he changed it to Stretch Armstrong. But so he was like a fan and loved our music. So when he got the big beat, he brought us there. And the funny thing is with B-Boy Records and Idlers, we never had a major machine behind us.
Yeah,
Nah, because it wasn't like they was doing videos. I was just talking to a DJ in Toronto 2 nights ago. When they do those shows and the video shows and show our era, we get left out because we had no video.
Right.
The only video of us is a Red Alert public access show where we're performing. That video is running around doing Strong Island. That's the only thing that's video of us. You know what I'm saying? We never had an official video. So The fact that people still love us and we get the love we get now without a video is even more, I'm even more appreciative because we ain't had no video like that. You know, people don't understand. Yeah, so.
What about Video Music Box? Were you getting Video Music Box love back then?
Video Music Box to this day still plays that one video at that Red Alert public access show. they played it recently. They played us. They said we're gonna take it to Strong Island. They played us in an EPMD record like back to back. Because I just passed shout to Parrish. Parrish just shared the I guess he videotaped with his phone, you know, the Video Music Box, and it was JVC and then EPMD. It's like we're gonna take it to Strong Island. So and that was like recent, like in the last month.
Wow.
So he still plays that. Shout out to Uncle Ralph. But we did the interviews and stuff, but we never had like the video, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of crazy.
Yo, I want to throw it to some of the people, some of the viewers right now.
Yes, sir.
Anybody want to ask any particular questions for either of us? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna play the Strong Island record for those that just coming in house. Woo-wee!
Yeah, that
man.
Listen to the situation, my son. I'm as serious as cancer, all fun and done. All the time, the people correspond the rhymes to the valley. The best you will find. Living in
CI, who the hell am I? AJ Rock the Juice, I get fly, cool with the riffing guy, keep a handle, because if you don't, I wax you down like a candle. Love. That's still, to this day, that's still, I tell you that living in CI, they did a documentary called Strong Island about a dude that lived around the corner from us. He had died, and they did a documentary on him.
Wow.
And in the middle of the documentary, he's living in CI. Who the hell am I? I'm like, yo. So, yeah.
Melanizer says, still have Strong Island on a cassette tape. Wow.
Wow.
Man.
I don't have Strong Island on a cassette tape. You know how my mom was like the stable, like I was always moving around. So I kept a lot of stuff in her basement, and she had a big flood.
Wow.
She had a big flood, and I lost everything. All the limited colored vinyl, autograph stuff. I lost everything. So I don't have no cassettes. So.
I can still my shit. Respect to AJ Rock and B Love of JVC Force, man. Y'all get mad love today, man.
Appreciate that.
I just
go ahead.
Love you just for, the history that we have from my days of PR. Again, you know what I'm saying? You're one of the, one of the dopest brothers that always showed me love, man. And, we go back to when I had hair, you know what I'm saying? And you had
yeah, I had locks after that. Yeah, I had locks after that. Right.
Locks after that. And then you were on WGBB too. Remember that? I used to come up to
yes, shout to Den Dub, shout to Rodney Williams, Dome Wrecker. That was the name of it. Yeah. I have not heard from Dennis in a minute. Hoping he's good. I've been trying to check, with COVID, check on all my people. Yeah. I haven't heard from him this year. So,
I had to do that. And I feel like I had to, this COVID experience has really, got me to, reach out to a lot of people. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, but more so I've been reaching out to a lot of people that I see online and on, on IG and Facebook and stuff like that, and just kind of recapping and just, it feels
right.
To talk to you and to kind of again, I never knew you were JVC Force. You know what I mean? So
it's funny. People. There are probably people in Mount Vernon that know me for Black Westchester now, who may watch this or watch this later, who are just finding out too. Because I was never that dude. Like, there's people that's all they talk about is what they used to do.
Right.
I wanted you to respect me for what I'm doing now. Right. And then if you find out, that's extra. You know what I'm saying? Right. You giving me love and respect for what I do now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And and then I wanted to brand the AJ Woodson as a brand. So I didn't want to be AJ from JVC and only known for that. I wanted to be known as AJ Woodson. And I made a concerted effort on that. And when you met me, I was, you go through them awkward stages between one career and another career. And you you know, I'm a hip hop head to my bones. I was started DJ. I was a graffiti artist. Like, I just wanted to stay around it. I just wanted to, you know, you try to stay relevant. So, like, sometimes I used to hang at your office, and I wasn't even there for no reason. I would just come hang at your office, like, you know what I'm saying? And I would come, Wild Man Steve. I would just hang at his station, and Jeff Force, and NYU, and all of those shows. I just to hang, just to, you know, because I just wanted to keep it. You know, you just that vibe. You just it's in your bones. You know what I'm saying? You can't get it.
I just say you were doing architectural drafts. That's crazy.
I went to an architectural drafting school, Amityville Architectural Technical something, right? I'm in one seat, and Dave from Daylight is in 2 seats away. The quiet kid in the class who didn't say nothing. Of course, I was the big mouth dude, like, and never knew like he was working to be a hip hop artist or none of that at the time. And neither one of us are doing that for a living. That's crazy. But we were in class together
What up,
for a minute. Yeah. We was in there for a minute. And then, you know, he was quiet, and then they went to blow up. I also knew Paul. I knew Prince Paul since we were teenagers. Like, I knew him way before music. You know, one of my best friends was, you know, lived from Amityville, but moved to CI, and he used to take me back to Amityville. And there was 2 DJ Pauls. He was one, and there was another cat ended up going to the army or something. I never heard no more from him. And then, you know, Prince Paul became Prince Paul. But I've known him since, like, we were teenagers. Like, yo, you know, so a lot of times, a lot of these relationships I have go beyond music. Like, you know, with me and you, it was bigger than music. It was bigger than I was writing and you. Like, sometimes, like I said, I would come hang out at the office, or we would hang out afterwards if we could. You know, I just love doing that. Like, you know, just being around the scene.
Yeah,
you know,
publicists. That when you knew me at the time, it afforded me the opportunity again to form relationships to this day that I have to this day with journalists like yourself, like Tembisa. Tembisa and I are like family. You know, when Tembisa and
shout out to Tembisa. Yes,
Tembisa. When Tembisa and I met, she was living in California at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was at Gavin. You know what I'm saying? Remember Gavin?
Okay, right. Yes.
And Gavin would do, you know, these seminars, the Gavin seminars, the Gavin summits, or what have you. And we had never met, man. We had never met. Like, we would always do, you know, she was another journalist that would, you know, again, take my phone calls, you know, when she would get my press kits or whatever. And then, you know, we finally met when she came to New York, I think, for a new music seminar. It was a new seminar. And we finally met, you know, face to face. Then years later, Tembisa got a job working at Sony, you know, and that's how we met. Like, we reconnected when she moved here to New York from California. I think she was in the Bay Area at the time, and she came up here with her, you know, her ex-husband Timur, and we became family, man. Like, we used to watch her kid, like Mecca. You know what I'm saying? You know? Well, salute to Mecca, like Mecca when Mecca was like yay high. And we really became tight, man. So, you know, Tembisa and so many journalists that I still have relationships with to this day. You know, it gave me an opportunity to travel. You know, it gave me an opportunity to travel, because every single time that I set up a press event or press situation for a client, I would have to travel with that client, like a father MC. You know? Right. Like a father MC, or, you know, BET was in DC at the time. So every situation that I set up, I would have to go with the artist to record it, to do the taping. Right. From relationships with you know, with DJ Coco Chanel and Tigger and you know Joe Claire and Big Les. That's my homie to this day. So
absolutely, shout out to Big Les.
You know, Big Les is my girl, man, like to this day. But they knew me from back then, from when I was going to DC all the time doing, you know, these tapings with my artists, you know, from XXposure and even Meridian, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the history. A lot of people don't know that. Like, people see me, they know me as a DJ, but they don't know the history of, you know, my Fugees days, or when I was you know, when I was a publicist, you know. So Big Low,
right in the 40 meet.
Real. Go ahead, man.
Right in the 40 meet, right at the 40 meet, opportunity to travel as well, to keep traveling. After you weren't at Double Exposure no more, they did the Cash Money Rough Rider tour. And I went on like 5 dates with them. You know what I'm saying? Staying in the same hotels, backstage, covering it. Like I traveled with them. You know what I'm saying? We was in a car. We wasn't in their buses, but we were going city to city with them. And that's when they had that big fight. RSO became, Benzino and them. There's something big happened at one of those events. Yeah. But they was RSO at the time, though. You know what I'm saying? And it was and Boston. In Boston, that was their first time at the Fleet Center, whatever the board where the Boston Celtics played. That was their first time performing there ever, and that was their city. You know what I'm saying? So I know I got to know Dave Mays and John Schechter when they were Harvard students, and Ray wasn't Benzino, he was Ray Dogg, and Def Jeff. Def Jeff was their DJ for Dave and them's DJ for the radio show, and I got to meet, and go to Boston and help them. You talking about publicity. I kind of got my feet wet with the group. B-Love did a lot of the writing. I wrote a lot too, but he did the bulk of the writing. Kurt did the bulk of the music, but I did all the stuff that you don't get your name in the album liners for. I didn't know what publicity was, but I just wanted to get us a magazine so, the girls would see it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what radio promotion was, but I was just, like getting us on the radio because, I wanted the girls to hear our music. Everything we do is for the girls, you know what I'm saying? So I was doing all of those things. Like now you have a publicist and a radio promotion person and I was that. I was all those things. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't even like I knew what to do. Like when you got your feet wet and I was doing. I had a German magazine fly to Central Islip, Long Island, do a photo shoot for us for a cover. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like I was getting down like that. Like I was really doing my thing because I've always been a hustler. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I've never been like really in the streets, selling drugs like that, but I've always hustled. And this was like, I went from this to this, to this, to this. And I always, just to keep my name going, sometimes just I found out what the next thing was. Just as Paul said, as Prince Paul said, one of the last time I talked to him, I asked him how he's doing. He's like, just trying to stay relevant. I was just trying to stay relevant. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and the quote Premier, it was like, no matter where we were, where hip hop was, I always had that love for hip hop. So I just wanted to always keep putting points on the board. That's the conversation me and Premier had. He's like, he just keep putting points on the board no matter what. So it was whether I was, managing Naquan or, you know what I'm saying? I was doing all these different things. I was always trying to bring that real hip hop out there. Like, so. And you did it. You did it, man. You did it. And congratulations on the 33 years of JVC Force. Yes. 33. Yeah, it came out when I was 22 and I just turned 55. Yeah, last month. Yeah. We celebrated 25 years of the score with the Fugees. So I'm happy to be in the conversation, you know what I mean? Right. As the original DJ. Because when they talk about the beginning, they can't forget me, you know what I'm saying? Because I was right. At the beginning. You know what I mean? Now you asked me about Scott LaRock. So yeah, when we signed, because B-Boy was a joint deal. B-Boy was a joint deal between Scott LaRock and Rock Candy Music. You know what I'm saying? So Scott didn't sign us. The dudes from Rock Candy actually signed us, and it was like sometime in early '87. So I actually did get to meet Scott a few times. I can't say like we hung out. I'm not gonna front with y'all. Like we hung out. Like that was my dude. Right. Always had respect for him. And then he died. You know what I'm saying? And then so because somebody asked me, did he ever see? So he never got to see Strong Island. He never got to hear Strong Island. He died before all of that. So that label he started, he never got to see what manifested on that label. He never got to see that. You know what I'm saying? So J-Scene just jumped on. Shout out to J-Scene. Is that J-Scene? Queen J-Scene? Yeah, that's J-Scene. That's her name, Queen J-Scene. Shout out to J-Scene. Spoke you up. Yeah, we were just talking about you. Shout out to Richard. Yes, giving you love. Yes. Yes, J-Scene. Salute. What up, J-Scene? I love you, sis. Yes. Wow. Yeah, so it's like crazy. So 33 years, man, and then it's like, the crazy thing is now, so I came up here in 2014. I was in Atlanta for 10, 12 years. I came back here to take care of my mom. She had stage 4 cancer in 2014. She passed. I took care of her last couple of months. My partner, Damon K. Jones, who I had the music company with that was doing the Hip Hop Hall of Fame thing that I knew from the 90s back when we were running, he hit me. Now he got more into politics, and he's a correction officer, so he got into like blacks and law enforcement. He's always at protesting when cops violate their procedures and all that stuff. He got into all of that while I was in Atlanta. So when I came back, he was like, yo, he got tired of the news only showing clips of his press conferences. So he started videotaping them himself. So he knew like I was in the hospital every day, I needed a break. So he was like, yo, come videotape this thing, get a break. And then we go to lunch and the whole nine. So it was like 4 black parole officers. They was up like suffering Ramapo, that's I think Dutchess County. And they went to go get, I guess, an escaped parolee that wasn't home. And on their way out of town, they got pulled over by the police and held at gunpoint for 45 minutes. Black parole officers with a badge and chain around their neck, with a bulletproof vest that say NYS, New York State parole on the cup, a bulletproof vest, and a government car, and they got held at gunpoint for like 45 minutes. Nothing ever happened to the white officers. So, of course, in this press conference, they were suing. So basically how Black Westchester came, once I videotaped it and he gave me the video, I always had a blog, and I basically wrote, if it ain't safe for them, what chance a brother like me on the street got? And that became like the first article. And we started this African-American news magazine online to educate our people, to change the narrative. I was never, ever into politics before this. My whole involvement in politics, I voted for Bill Clinton twice and I voted for Obama twice. That like my whole involvement in politics. I didn't know nothing about politics. But now like, I helped 2 congressmen get in office this year, 2 black congressmen, Jamal Bowman and Mondaire Jones. I helped. I was one of the people that helped them get in. So now we have 7 years of the website, 7 years of the talk radio show. We're going on 4 years on the newspaper.
Black Westchester.
Yeah, Black Westchester. Yeah. Okay. So and the radio show is called People Before Politics. It's like a talk show. Okay. This is the first non-music thing I've ever done, and we became kind of like the voice of the people. We've helped wrongfully incarcerated people get out. We've helped corrupt cops go in. You know what I'm saying? We've helped candidates get in, and if things didn't go right, we helped them get back out. We helped other people get out. Ernie Davis, credit me to this day, is the reason he didn't win that primary. We helped Richard Thomas get in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Richard Thomas. I did a couple of events for Richard Thomas too.
I worked on his campaign. I did his social media for his campaign.
Oh, fantastic!
So anything that was social media, video, pictures, I was all me.
I actually DJed for him the night that Obama won. The night that
okay.
First time. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, yes. So just like it's just been crazy. Like I didn't come back home to do none of this. Like I just came to take care of my moms, and now like every time there's something that's systematic racism, or every time there's like police corruption, or somebody having a problem with the system or whatever, I'm the person you call now, like in this area.
That's what's
and the surrounding area now. So it's kind of like, this is kind of like my give back to the community part of my life. Like this is the first time. So I was married. My daughter's grown. My stepdaughters are, out of high school. One of them got a baby of their own. So this is the first time I don't have anybody who depends on me to put food on the table or keep a roof over their head. So I'm able to do this. Because if I was married and I had kids, I couldn't even do this. So, it's like a labor of love, but, we like the voice of the people, so it's cool. I like what we're doing because we help people, and you can see the people that you help. And I got a National Media Award. I just got a fellowship from the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at CUNY.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, it's crazy. I like you would never, like back then when we was running around, you couldn't tell me I would be doing anything I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. I was a wet behind the ears publicist, back then. And so when I look at my life from 94 until now, several kids later, you know what I mean? It's an amazing experience, man. I myself, I received an award as one of the top, 30 Haitian American change makers of the United States.
Wow.
From the Haitian, yeah, it was huge, from the Haitian Roundtable. And that was mind blowing. Mona Scott Young and Dr. Jeff Gardier presented me the award. It was at the, it was just crazy, man, just to think about standing there receiving that award as one of the top 30 Haitian American change makers of the United States. And it's something that I will never forget. I brought my mom to the ceremony, and it was just to this day, I'm still blessed and grateful to be able to have received that award. And just as a recap for everything that I've done over the years, and my story, from when we go back to the 90s. But I stay in my community. I'm in Brooklyn now. I'm Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Giving back, working with children, still spinning, I have a radio show on WBAI 99.5 FM, Haitian All Stars Radio.
Okay.
That's every late Monday, early. The show came on last night, every late Monday, early Tuesday on WBAI 99.5 FM, but also on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast. It goes on and on, man. SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Podomatic. It's a huge show. And it's a way to celebrate my Haitian culture, to give back to the people, in terms of everything Haitian, from the culture to the news, to the politics, to the food, to everything Haitian,
Was that your connection with Wyclef?
Say it again.
Was that your connection with Wyclef? Because he's Haitian too, right? Was that y'all had a connection?
Clef and I we grew up in Newark together. I'm
okay.
Bellsburg, Newark, shout out to Newark, New Jersey. What up, Tony? It's like passe. So that's how we really connected back then, because I was in Bellsburg. But at the time that I joined the Fugees, I was living in Orange, and the studio, the Booger Basement studio, was in East Orange. That's how we connected then. But yeah, the connection is definitely that. We go back to Jersey. I grew up in from Brooklyn to Canada. I lived in Canada for about 4 years, and then from Canada I moved to Jersey, and I did most of my growing up in Jersey, high school, all that stuff. Shot to Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, man. You know what I mean? So Clef and I met back then, but we were just kind of running in the same, circles back then, but we didn't really connect until the Fugees, like 93, when I had to audition, and then the history, and then that was the history,
It was so good to see you, Maceo, and Evil D.
Oh yeah.
I was like, my dudes. That's why I reached out to you that day. I reached out to you because I had reached out to you once or twice, but when I got back, but I've been busy. I was like, I got to reach out to my dude. I was like, it was good to just see. It was like a family reunion,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I love, the IG live situation, to be able to jump on. And like Father MC just we should have threw him on. I don't know if he's still watching. I don't think he's still watching. But Father MC was one of my clients. MC was one of my clients when I was a publicist back then, and then, oh man, it's just like, and then, I was trying to find him for a while. I hadn't seen, how to get in touch with him for a minute. And then I finally found him on the gram. And then we literally recently started following each other, so salute to Father MC. And then Clef and I, we actually performed together literally right before COVID, January. Oh, wow. January of last year, I was one of the DJs for the Capital Jazz Super Cruise. And, Clef and I literally walked on the boat together. He was the opening, like he was the performer for the sail away party, Capital Jazz Super Cruise. And I was the DJ for Fantasia, Swing Out Sister, oh my God, man, Michael Collier and Sinbad, the list goes on, man. I did so many artists, SWV, and it was just an amazing experience. This was January of last year, right before COVID. Got to sail 3 islands, St. Thomas, you know what I mean, St. Lucia, and it was just like you go from that to lockdown.
Absolutely.
I was like crazy. I was like, I was just traveling and DJing and making bread, you know, and then now. So,
yeah, we had to reevaluate everything we did. We had to find new ways of doing it. We're doing more of this now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest though. I really didn't always want to be around a whole lot of people. So this kind of like when they have press conferences I got to cover, now they just stream. I can just type it. I ain't got to leave the house to do them. And some of those is a beautiful thing because I really didn't want to go. And I get to cover some stuff because it's streaming now. So, and I can interview people. When we went in the studio, I had to catch people when they were in New York.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, if you're in Cali or wherever, I can just do this. You know what I'm saying? This is beautiful, yeah.
For you.
Huh?
That works for you? The streaming thing works for you?
It does, but it doesn't go back to replace what we had. I like to incorporate a little bit of both, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been into social media, so
yeah,
you know, it works. I'm gonna ride it till the wheels fall off, but I don't, I always consider myself a loner. I do miss physical interaction a little bit sometimes, like just a little bit, and then once I get it, I'm good. I want it forever.
Okay, so this is like for me. I get a little stir crazy sometimes, you know, because I'm still quarantined, man. I'm not out there like that. You know, things are open in a way that, you know, I see people doing a lot of outdoor situations. And, you know, I know the clubs aren't officially open yet, but I will say this, though, you know, and I'm celebrating. I don't want to say celebrate. I'm commemorating 1 year of streaming during this COVID period, you know, 1 year. It's around this time that, you know, that I really went hard in terms of, you know, live streaming. And those that are on right now, a lot of people that are on right now know what it is. I literally started jumping on and streaming sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, you know, to give people, you know, healing. You know, I wanted to give people music and therapy, you know, because everybody was, frankly, people were scared. You know,
I have to give all y'all DJs. I'm telling you, because I would get your notifications, and I would get like, you know, it was, you know, the D-Night stuff, but it was like all the DJs. Like, yo, I would just get a notification, and I'd be feeling some kind of way, and then they take me back playing some like golden era hip hop, and oh my God, I'm like, yo, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's the DJs that got me through.
For sure. Me too, man. Me too. You know, as a DJ. And I'm a DJ's DJ, but I love my DJs and all my DJs, and you know who you are. You know, I'll be the kind of DJ that'll hop on different, you know, live streams and definitely pop in and show my DJs love. But salute to the DJs for sure, you know, because we kept, you know, the energy going, we kept the morale going, we kept the spirits up, you know, throughout the entire experience, and still do, and still happening, you know.
And I want to say, yo, to everybody who rocked, who got something from the DJs, you know, the artist part of me is always there. Yo, if they throw their cash apps up and you got it, yo, put something on that, yo, because these people are doing this for free.
Word.
Like they're not only they're doing it for free, they're no longer out there in the clubs and them paid gigs, and they're doing this for free. So like, I mean, some people ain't got it, you know what I'm saying? But if you got it, you know what I'm saying? Yo, put something on they cash app or whatever, just to be like, yo, I appreciate you. Put something on that. You know what I'm saying?
Like when we first started streaming last year, I made some bread. I mean, people were tipping me crazy. Like it was like unbelievable, you know, and able to pay a lot of my bills a year ago. And I gotta say, in this form, in this space, thank you to everyone that sent $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever. And it helped, definitely helped, you know. But I will say this, man, you know, I'm a little, and that's why you caught a little bit of that conversation with me, Evil D and Maceo. You know, the future is really uncertain, you know, with what's going on, because, you know, we want to travel, you know, we want to be able to get on a plane and you know, so you got some countries that are like requiring that you take this vaccine. So it's a really tricky situation right now for a lot of folks that are like, that want to travel and that want to be able to accept gigs overseas or whatever. And
same thing for us as artists.
To make it mandatory that you have to take the vaccine, which I'm not on board yet. I'm not on board with it. You know?
So just same thing with the artists. Like, it's the 33rd year anniversary. We haven't been in Europe in over a decade or more, probably 15, 20 years. So our biggest fan base is overseas.
Word.
So there are calls for like, yo, are y'all coming over here to do a show? Are y'all coming? So there's possibilities and conversations, but it's not safe. And I'm not really trusting like getting on planes right now, like to be flying over. And see, it's because everybody's not wearing masks and everybody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's like, yo, you got a right not to wear a mask, but you ain't got a right to kill me. So, you know, so it's like,
yeah.
yo,
flying, not overseas, but I have been flying. So it is a requirement on a plane.
On a plane. But I'm just saying, once you get there, though, people, you walking around, you don't know what, you know, they got all these variants and all this stuff. So when they get that together, for all your JVC FORCE, if you want us,